Whether you're just starting out in BSG or GLO-BUS or nearing the end, you should always be looking for ways to boost your score and move up in the rankings. Here are 3 great ways for you to do just that. The third best tip for success in BSG and GLO-BUS is to watch your cash flow page. Ignoring the cash flow page is a trap that's really easy to fall into if you're not in an accounting or a finance major. Your long-term debt is paid automatically, so it's easy to think that your cash management is on autopilot. This is a mistake you shouldn't make because your credit rating, one of your 5 scoring metrics, is heavily dependent on you generating adequate cash flow to satisfy creditors that you can still make your debt payments even if the market shifts and your company's sales take a hit. So keep an eye out to make sure your cash balance doesn't drop too low. On the other hand, if your company is meeting your investors' expectations for EPS, you're probably seeing an increase in your ending cash balance every fiscal year. If so, this good thing may have something of a downside. If your cash is piling up, you're earning interest on that cash, but not much. Better, though, is that you can use your cash stockpile to expand your production facilities if your strategy calls for it. Or, my favorite, you can share that cash with your shareholders, either through increased dividend payments or through buying back and retiring shares of your company's stock. These moves can give you the trifecta of higher earnings per share, higher return on equity, and a higher stock price. As I've pointed out in my other videos, these are all things your employer, your board of directors, expect you to do. The second best tip for playing BSG and GLO-BUS is to understand that these simulations are very realistic and follow pretty much every theory you've learned in your business courses. Yeah, I know you're thinking, come on, what real business is run by making decisions in drop-down menus? I get it. What I'm saying is that the market that has been designed within these simulations and the models that direct the ways your firm reacts to your decision changes are designed to emulate the ways firms operate in the real-world market. Perhaps the most obvious example of this is the way consumers buy smaller quantities of your product when you increase your prices. That's the demand curve at work. In fact, you'll see some version of the demand curve every time you change some element of your product offering. In a similar vein, larger and more frequent sales promotions bring traffic to the retailers who carry your product and make them more willing to stock your product. You can see the lessons taught in your human resources courses if you fail to set worker earnings at or above the industry average for assembly workers. Workers who feel they are underpaid are more likely to feel unappreciated and are therefore less likely to be motivated to work to push productivity higher. Spending on productivity improvement training can offset this somewhat, but just as it is in the real world, money talks in both BSG and GLO-BUS. In your finance courses, you learned how earnings per share, return on stockholders' equity, and dividends all contribute to the value that markets place on shares of your company's stock. It's no accident that BSG and GLO-BUS have 3 scoring measures that are directly related to rewarding the owners of the company you run. While I could go on with this for a long time, I think you can get the point that if you believe your BSG or GLO-BUS company or market will respond to the changes you're considering in the ways your business professors would predict, you're probably right. Before I tell you the number 1 BSG and GLO-BUS tip, I want to ask you to subscribe to our Destined Economics channel so that you'll be the first to hear any updates or new ideas about how to improve your score in the game. That said, the best tip I can offer for succeeding in BSG or GLO-BUS is for you to pick a damn strategy. This deserves repeating, even though I know you've heard me say it before. In fact, my opinion is that it's the biggest lesson you can take from this game. You need to pick a strategy that allows you to serve a market niche that no other company serves. While your textbook discusses 5 generic strategies, I like to think about just the 2 ends of the strategy spectrum. I call the differentiation strategy the BMW strategy because the differentiation strategy tells you to make your product more desirable by adding the features that buyers are willing to pay to receive. With the differentiation strategy, You'll be producing a high-performance product in a variety of models and colors so that buyers can get the one that fits their needs so well that they'll be willing to pay the higher price that you command and still get a great value for their money. At the opposite end of the strategy spectrum is the low-cost strategy. I call this one the Walmart strategy because it tells you to sell a basic entry-level product that leaves out any features that buyers aren't willing to pay to get. With the low-cost strategy, your no-frills product will have a no-frills price that also gives buyers a great value for their money. Am I saying that you can't be Honda or Target or some other point in between? Of course not. I've found that BMW and Walmart give a pretty good illustration of the extremes of what your strategy might look like. They both can be highly profitable and win BSG or GLO-BUS. The critical issue is that you pick a strategy that positions you in a unique market niche that isn't served by another company. Let your competitive rivals burn each other out in head-to-head competition. Find a place in the market where the competition isn't and serve that niche in a way that others can't. I call this being the only store on the island, and it's as close to being a monopolist as you can get in BSG and GLO-BUS. It's also the most profitable place to be in BSG and GLO-BUS. If you think of highly profitable real-world companies like Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Walmart, you'll probably see that they don't really have direct competitors. You want your company to be like those. This means that you need to always know which part of the market are being served by your competitive rivals, and the place to do this is on the Comparative Competitive Efforts page. Look at the prices that they charge and the features and warranties that they offer. You want to find a gap in the other company's prices and features that indicate a niche that isn't being served by another company. The bigger this gap in the competitive landscape is, then the further you'll be from your competitive rivals if you locate there, and the greater your profits from uniquely serving this niche are likely to be. Then, when you find this niche, you can concentrate on cash flow, productivity, and all of the managerial functions that can boost your company's profits and move you up in the rankings. You don't have to work harder than all your competitive rivals, but you do have to work smarter. Now you know how to do just that. Put these ideas into action right away, and don't forget to subscribe for more ways to move your company up in the ranking. And thanks for watching.